This mock draft episode is brought to you by TrophySmack.com. Fantasy football isn't about winning, it's about showing off when you do. That's why we've teamed up with TrophySmack.com. They've got championship trophies, belts, rings, draft boards, even loser punishments. All the stuff that makes your league unforgettable. And the best part, you can now support the show while upgrading your league. Just hit the link in the description of this podcast and grab something from Trophy Smack today. So don't settle for weak bragging rights. Go big, go bold, and make sure your fantasy league's champion looks like a legend. Check out TrophySmack.com. Link is right there in the description. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Fantasy, the playlist on the Benched channel. Welcome to really our first full episode, and it's going to be a mock draft, 3 rounds, PPR, 12 team. We're going 1 quarterback, which is different for this particular group of guys as far as the league that I play with them in. And then no kicker, no defense, obviously, because that is a giant waste of time. Boys, how we feeling? DA, let's start with you. Fantasy draft season. Are you locked in, loaded?
Yeah, I'm excited for this. Most of mine, as you just mentioned, I play in Superflex leagues. So first round, I had one the other day, taking Josh Allen right out of the jump. So drafting from the 12 spot, 1 quarterback league. So, it's going to feel a little bit different, but I think part of fantasy is just kind of being ready for the curves of each league, whatever curveball it throws at you, however it plays out differently. So we'll see how this one goes.
AJ Woodson is a fiend for mock drafts. AJ, how many mock drafts have you done?
I mean, I think the better question is how many days have I not done a mock draft?
Yeah. Just wait a second. I'm just going to get a quick mock in.
It's funny too. So I'm picking from the 1 spot here. I don't, as much as I can recall, I don't think I've ever picked from the 1 spot.
Oh, nice.
In a non-dynasty, in our dynasty league, we've had the 1, traded for the 1 a couple times, but just in a flat out redraft, I don't think I've ever drafted from the 1 spot. So this will be interesting.
And of course, Big Angel down there, Angel Tovar, in the bottom right-hand corner. Angel, are you sticking with your tried and true 0 RB? Yeah?
You already know it. There's so much. With last year's rookie class, giving us neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. and Ladd, there's just more wideouts for me to pick and less running backs for me to just ignore. Yeah, it's going to be 0 RB or hero RB or however you want to say it. It's more like hero RB, but still, I'm ready to just get people all upset.
All right, guys, here's how we're lining up for this mock draft. We spaced ourselves out evenly so that we can give you hopefully a look at each one of the positions here, whether you're drafting in the first, last, or middle spots there. AJ is going to lead us off, like you said, in the first position there. I'm at 4. Angels is at 8. And let's be honest, DA is probably going to win the day, even though he's picking number 12. Boys, before we hop into this draft, I wanted to go through something real quick with everyone, and that is something that if you're drafting or just getting into fantasy football, this is the language you need to learn. That is ADP, where players are going typically in drafts, because it's not always about picking the best player, but it's picking the best value oftentimes when you go through a draft. And since we're only doing 3 rounds, I figured let's really dive into some ADP as we get into these first 3 rounds. So before we hit the first round, want to look at the ADP for this first round. Jamar Chase is the hotness this year, going number 1 overall in most drafts. He, of course, was the Triple Crown winner. He still has Joe Burrow, and they still really suck at defense. So it seems like they're going to put up a lot of points there in Cincinnati. Of course, any objections with Jamar Chase, a.k.a. anyone want to get thrown out of this draft?
For PPR, no. He had 117 catches last year, so he's like bona fide number 1 with Burrow in his prime. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
I guess save your opinion, AJ, because you have the first pick. But DA, any objection?
I was thinking about it on the way in. I think there's some pretty good choices starting at 2. I think you can go a lot of different directions at 2. Will someone else beat him to number 1 this year? I mean, yeah, maybe, but he's the best choice. He's the best shot. Feels like his floor and his upside are huge. And not just as a Ravens fan when he gets like 250 yards a game against us. So yeah, if I'm in a 1 QB league, if I've got the number 1 spot, I like Chase, but excited to see how this one plays out.
Bijan has really skyrocketed just his whole career-wise ever since Arthur Smith left. Here he is at number 2 in the ADP.
What are the odds?
Yeah, no surprise. Saquon left the Giants. He skyrocketed as well. Jahmyr Gibbs at 4. CeeDee Lamb's here at 5. He was wide receiver 1, I believe, just 2 years ago. He gets healthy Dak back. I think CeeDee Lamb number 5 is one of the values of the first round. I think he has definitely wide receiver 1 potential with Dak back and Pickens there to kind of shield coverage. Justin Jefferson at number 6. Now, Jay Jettas at number 6. A couple last year, or even within any time within the last 4 years, is wild work. But here he is with a rookie quarterback, another quarterback, same head coach, same offense, but still the unknown of the quarterback situation. And he's at number 6. Since Angel and DA are both not picking in the top 6, guys, are you letting him fall to number 6?
No.
I think I'm okay with it. Just because, number 1, I like a lot of the guys up top. And number 2, there is a little bit more uncertainty. They have a different quarterback. It's a rookie. He wasn't asked to carry the Michigan offense. I'm broadly pretty optimistic on McCarthy, but it's just going to look a little different. And after not being able to run as efficiently as some teams the last couple of years, they went out, they invested in the interior of their offensive line. A lot of buzz that they want to use Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. So maybe they try to take some stuff off the rookie QB's plate by leaning into the run a little bit more. I think Jefferson's great. I mean, everyone in the first round is great. If it comes down to him or CD for me, and they're very, very close in ADP here, I like CD more. I think Jefferson is, probably the better player in a vacuum.
Yeah.
But man, Dallas is not going to be that effective running the ball, I don't think. And I don't think they're going to be that good on defense this year. And he's got a number 2 on the opposite side of him. So I think I like CD more. I'd probably take Jefferson over Amon-Ra, but honestly, that is closer to me than even like CD versus Jefferson. 6 is about right.
Angel, we'll go to you in a second, but I want to piggyback off that real quick. I think I agree with you, and a lot of you are going to be in this position if you're picking anywhere from number 3 to 7 or I think 7 of looking at Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra kind of in that same pool. I think those running backs will go early, and I think I would as far as like odds would go, I would tend to agree with DA. I think CD probably is the safest pick here with targets, with quarterback, with offense, with a I don't want to say terrible defense, but question marks on the defensive end. Is Micah Parsons even going to be on the team? So I think I agree. I think CeeDee Lamb definitely over those guys. Amon-Ra and Jefferson I think they both have their issues. But a lot of you will be in that position, and I think my way to go to would be CD. Angel, what do you think?
No, I think for me, for Jefferson, until he proves me otherwise, I'm gonna take him right behind Jamar Chase. He's up there with the Jamar Chase, Bijan, and Gibbs. That in that range of player. Last year, if you were told everyone week 1 Sam Darnold would be his quarterback, you would not take him anywhere near where he finished, which is wideout 2. So it's kind of until he proves to me that he's not Randy Moss, I'm gonna treat him as Randy Moss.
Those 3 are going to be interesting as we make our way through the first round. Let's finish it out real quick. CMC, which is, I mean, if he's healthy and we get a full year, we all know he could be number 1 on this list or on any list at the end of the year. So that's an interesting pick. Derrick Henry, of course, the ageless wonder, almost over 1,800 yards last year on the ground. Malik Neighbors did what he did last year with, me and Angel playing quarterback. And then Nico Collins, Puka Nacua, Ashton Genty. Kind of gets a little more what's your flavor toward the end of the first round. Interested to see what you boys do. AJ, you ready to kick us off here?
I'm ready. Let's go.
I'm going to go ahead and start this draft. And it is I made sure I did it on time so we can stop and talk if we want. AJ, you're on the clock.
All right, cool. So I've given this a ton of thought, and I'm glad you made me wait to share my opinion. Obviously, Jamar Chase is the man. Clear-cut wide receiver 1 last year. But it's interesting to know that there has not been a repeat wide receiver 1 overall in fantasy football in 8 years since prime Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons. Do I think he's going to get hurt? No. Do I think he's going to lose a ton of targets to T. Higgins? No. But what's fantasy football about? It's trying to prove that you're the smartest guy in the room. And you're not going to do that by taking the obvious number
I'm
one
not
guy.
trying to win.
At the number one pick. You're trying to win, but you want to you want to
look good,
smarter than everybody else. With that being said, I'm coming into this draft trying to get possibly the number one player at each position, and number one running back the guy that I believe is going to be the number one running back overall, and possibly the number one player in all of fantasy is Bijan Robinson.
Whoa.
Okay.
All right. So there it is. Jamar Chase was passed at 1.1.
That's how the top three should go.
If it's going to be anyone else, I guess it would be Bijan.
Yeah.
I mean, we already talked about we're all Jamar Chase, and you gave your reasons for taking Bijan, and I mean, I guess agree to disagree. Anything else? Anyone want to say anything about Bijan versus Jamar Chase?
It's honestly up there. It's just kind of like you can't really go wrong. It's just kind of what you want to build your team around. Like, do you believe in the depth of the wideout position that at the end, so he's picking 1.1. That means at the end of the whole thing, we still get wideout 2, or with wideout 1 upside, or wideout 1 maybe he stuck around. Yeah. That's the risk of taking him.
That's my exact thinking. That's my exact thinking is wide receiver so deep. Yeah. I mean, wide receiver 30 to 45. You've got better pickings than running back 25 to 30. Or 25 to 35 or whatever you want to, however you want to look at it. There's just more depth at the wide receiver position. I feel like get a top guy at running back and wide receiver will fall to you. And you can find wide receivers in the middle of the season. We've all done that. Running back is so much harder to get right.
ADP for wideout in that range is Marvin Harris Jr., Mike Evans, McLaurin, Devontae Adams. So there's definitely wideouts there. You can see.
I agree with you, but you say all those names. Just further, I mean, it's Jamar Chase. He's just going to outscore those guys by so much. I'm taking Jamar Chase. I'm taking the money. They're in a worse position than they were last year as far as defensively. They're going to throw the ball like crazy. I don't know. I'm not with it. DA, not really a tiebreaker here, but who you siding with? Am I right or
I'd go Chase, but if you say even like the roster structure of the league, man, we got a lot of flexes. I'm going to pack out a bunch of receivers later or something like that. I think if I'm going anywhere other at pick 1, it is RB1 Robinson. I think all of the other guys have enough question marks. It does come down to those two. I lean Chase, but I see it. Anyone else, I'd be, whoa, I'm not sure about that, but I see it.
It's interesting, but yeah, those are the top 3, I think, for sure.
One more little nugget for you.
Yep.
In the 3 games with Michael Penix last year, Bijan Robinson scored 24.3, 24.8, and 31.3 fantasy points. That was kind of pushed over the edge.
Michael Penix either lost everyone their fantasy leagues with the Drake London and Bijan Robinson stats, or he just gave us a sneak preview that we should have believed the whole time. But those 3 games were something magical, fantasy-wise anyway.
In fantasy, yeah, definitely.
Drake London believers rely on those last 3 games, which are probably, if that's anything what we're going to get this year, Drake London's a huge value.
All right, I'm on the clock here at number 4. Running back that I was targeting, obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs is gone. Saquon's there. Saquon had more carries than any running back in 25 years. And even as an Eagle fan, I'm just not with it, man. I love Saquon. I think he's still going to be as impactful on the just pure football-wise. But fantasy-wise, he cannot get the work he had last year. That's just against all odds, and I'm not going to do it. And so I'm going to go with the guy who I think could be wide receiver 1 if anyone's going to challenge Jamar Chase, and that's CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb's my guy here. And with Dak healthy again, Pickens now to pull away coverage, their defense not looking all that hot. They're not going to run the ball well, like DA mentioned earlier. I think they're about to throw the ball up and down the field, and I think they're going to be either a version of the Bengals, whether that's a poor man's version or a upgraded version. But either way, I think CeeDee Lamb's about to get the value targets, and he's the guy.
Man, Saquon over Jefferson. That's a lot of questions that people are trying to answer this weekend in the drafts. CeeDee Lamb, it's going to be interesting to see.
Anyone? We talked about CeeDee Lamb or Jefferson already. Anyone want to comment on that pick, or just keep moving?
My one comment is that dude is incredible. Dude is extremely fun. I'm not positive that Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 3 guy for me.
Oof.
Like, really good. Is he going to get 18 touchdowns again this year? No Ben Johnson, no Ragnow. Some questions there. It's going to be really good. Super explosive.
Yeah.
For me, I like everyone else has question marks as well. Obviously, a lot fewer of them here at the top of the draft. You know, the questions about that versus Saquon getting a cajillion touches. You got to weigh your risk however you want. I would take Lamb and Barkley over Gibbs this year until I see it with him. I believe in Ben Johnson and what he was doing there. And there's a lot of infrastructure that's still there. You know, all credit to Goff and Amon-Ra and the rest of the line that's there and everything else, right? Great team. But I think just penciling Gibbs in as, easy top 3 pick. For me, I mean, Monty is still there. They're still going to be splitting targets and some of that. Gibbs is the best player that I don't think I've got anywhere. And it's not because I don't think he's good, but I think he's like 5 or 6. And so if he's going 3 every time, I'm just going to miss him every time.
Yeah. So that's what I was kind of mentioning earlier. If you're listening, the value-wise, Gibbs is great. Does DA like the value? Not at 3. He doesn't. I've thought about the Lions situation too, because so many of their touchdowns were these incredibly like manufactured touchdowns through this play design that Ben Johnson had, just messing with defenses, double passes, end arounds, Sam Laporta in the flat all by himself type stuff. Is that going to happen this year? And there's so many touchdown makers there. There's so many guys who have done it many times in their career over and over again. How many touchdowns are even there to go around to all those different guys? I think it's a good point. I think it's something to consider. Barkley versus Gibbs is going to be another one of those conversations you're going to have internally as you're also having that conversation about the wide receivers. Angel, you're on the clock here. Well, let's talk about the picks between real quick. Barkley went. Jefferson went at his ADP 1.6. I think we've belabored that point enough. Could be wide receiver 1. We'll see where McCarthy is. No one truly knows. We'll see. Derrick Henry, number 7. Yeah, he's going to get the carries. He's going to get the work. The Ravens are virtually the same team they were last year as far as he's concerned. I don't think there's any running back there that's going to take carries from him, and he'll go in the first round, somewhere around there. I'm not crazy about taking him, but you can't really, like, when's he going to fall off a cliff? Will he ever fall off a cliff? Like, is he the Tom Brady of running backs? I don't know. Just you guys taking Derrick Henry? Are you targeting Henry in your first rounds?
Not in a PPR league. Yeah, he's going to get the carries, and he still shows, he can manage an explosive breakaway run, pretty much every game. But in a PPR league above guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Malik Neighbors, I'm taking Christian McCaffrey in this format before I'm taking Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. I'm on board. Derrick Henry, much as I love him, PPR-wise, Christian McCaffrey, if he is healthy, light years more valuable and more tradable, even if you want to move on from him, than Derrick Henry.
So, I mean, we're seeing now, if you're watching the conversations you're going to need to be having here, the Chase versus Bijan, and then the Gibbs versus Barkley, and then those receivers you're going to have to talk about. And then here toward the middle end, Derrick Henry versus Saquon Barkley, which, I mean, their careers kind of mirrored each other last year, switching teams and bumping up like they did. Angel, you're at pick number 8.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm not going to lie. Christian McCaffrey sitting here is pretty damn tempting.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't. My heart can't do it. I can only imagine. I didn't have him last year. I can only imagine the people drafting him 1.2, 1.3, 1.1 last year and not having them all. And the Niners are filthy liars, and they'll tell you that he's almost ready, and they won't pay him for 8 weeks after that. So what you highlighted about the Lions' new coordinator and all that stuff, and really he's kind of making me not want to pick Amon-Ra, even though Amon-Ra was wideout 2 last year. He was phenomenal. Wideout 3 last year. They added Tesla, who they like apparently. They've been talking up Jameson Williams like all summer, but basically since Ben Johnson left. They've been talking up him. I'm gonna take this. This is the one guy who, like, I'm not gonna take. I'm gonna take Puka Nacua here. I think if you just put together Puka Nacua, if you put together one season of him just playing, give me 15 games, 15 of which are in the fantasy season, he might be wide out 1. With Stafford there, Stafford's healthy. It's a lot of risk everywhere, but I don't want to play the Russell Wilson game if this is my first round pick with the neighbors, I'm gonna go Puka Nacua here over Amon-Ra and Christian McCaffrey.
So Puka over Amon-Ra, who goes right after him, and then Christian McCaffrey. We need to talk about Ashton Jeanty and have a real conversation here about that name popping up at the end of the first round.
Can I say something real quick as we're
go ahead.
Into the first round? It's amazing how even in the first round, every single player brings up questions.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
We haven't even gotten into the thick of things, and every player brings up questions. That's fantasy football, man.
That's what you got.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Is all you got to make sure you study before you go in the draft, please. Don't go in there off vibes. Make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure these these player situations have a plan for sure. And I don't know, maybe subscribe to the Bench Podcast and the Fantasy channel. Puka Nacua over Amon-Ra St. Brown. I know in a broad forum that would be quite the conversation. DA, thoughts on that?
I think Amon-Ra is probably the most stable piece in Detroit just because, if the protection's a little worse this year, if the scheme's a little worse this year, hey, find the guy who just makes catches, over the middle all the time, check it down. I think I'd probably lean Amon-Ra, but, Matt Stafford can sling it for sure. Puka's a crazy man. He's fun to watch. And, I think both of those guys, I really like CMC. I think I'd be on him at the 1-8. But if you're just like, man, that's too much risk for my take, I think it comes down to Amon-Ra and Puka. It's about a coin flip. I think I'd lean the other way, but that's pretty close.
As you're listening, you'll hear us bring up question marks on all these different players. When AJ said that, I probably should explain. Like, we have questions because you're splitting hairs here. We are not out on any of these players. We love all these players going in this first round, but these are the questions you need to ask yourself. Do you want to take the risk of St. Brown losing his coordinator, or the risk of Puka Nacua having a quarterback that has already missed some time with a bad back and is in kind of the last years of his career? And those are the decisions you're going to have to make here at the first round. Who did I cut off? Angel?
No, I'm just saying, like, I can't be talking about risk management and like take Puka Nacua, who misses games every year. Yeah, just about the upside. I mean, it's like question marks, you said. So, fair. But Puka Nacua, when he's on, it's hard to. He's a PPR machine, man.
Ashton Jeanty goes number 10, and Christian McCaffrey right after him. I think that is insane to take Ashton Jeanty, that offensive line, that offense, a rookie, over Christian McCaffrey, who is going to be at the moment, and it will be the 49ers offense with a complement, with a side dish with George Kittle. It's CMC there. I mean, unless you're scared of Brian Robinson, I don't think you should be. Me and AJ talked about in the emergency pod we dropped after that trade. Taking Jeanty before CMC, I think, is a way to lose your league. I don't think you can maybe win your league in this first round, per se, but I think you could definitely lose your league in this first round. And I think this is one of those picks that carries that risk where, listen, is a rookie running back behind. We don't know the situation there. We don't know what kind of offense they're running. We don't know anything about this situation, and we know so much more about CMC. Obviously, the health is a risk there, but does that get to anyone else like gets to me, AJ?
Yeah, it's funny because you're looking at two opposite ends of the spectrum here in Christian McCaffrey and Jeanty. When Saquon was coming out, he was going in a lot of the first round, a lot of drafts. Similar prospect profiles here. It just, and I don't know if we were really big believers in the New York Giants offense back then as much as with the Raiders offense now. You've got to be a big believer in Chip Kelly and what he can do for that offense. If you're taking him over Christian McCaffrey, I'm taking McCaffrey over Jeanty, over Derrick Henry. But I'm not mad at somebody for just taking a flyer and getting their guy in Jeanty.
DA, you're on the clock here at team 12, pick 12. What you got?
I honestly don't love the running backs at this point. I think that's maybe the 1 point in favor of Jeanty. It feels like there's a bit of a tier break here. If you're in on Achane, that's cool. I'm not sure with his injury status. So I'm looking receiver here. Feels like there's the next four are kind of a mini tier before then you get down to A.J. Brown. So Neighbors, Collins, Thomas, London. For me, that's who I'm picking between. I like Bowers a lot. McBride is good, but I don't think those guys are this range. I'm going to lead off with Nico Collins. I think he's got the best quarterback out of those four. I don't think it's any question between Stroud and Russ at this point in Russ's career. And I think though Stroud didn't have a stellar year last year for sure, I think there's more provenness. I think his 2023 is better than anything that Lawrence or Penix have showed in their various times in the league. So I think Nico Collins has a huge bounce back. He was incredible last year before the injury. There doesn't seem to be any kind of concern about him coming back from the injury. Yeah. Good enough guys around him between Christian Kirk, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knoll to like be able to keep the offense afloat. But man, he's just going to completely eat. I think Collins is a real guy to look at there. I don't think I'd have him over any of the top 11, maybe Genty, but I think he's a fairly clear 12 for me. And then between Neighbors, Thomas, London, I'd almost consider, like a Josh Jacobs, or I mean, if you want to get a little spicier with it, maybe even a Jonathan Taylor if you think that he's the only one running in that offense without Richardson taking carries. But I think it's the receivers. Neighbors is awesome. I don't like I don't like quite the questions that are there. I think the safest offense here is probably Atlanta's. And so I'm going to double tap Collins and London. I love BTJ. I'm in a league with y'all, and I've got him there. He's not moving. Like, I love the guy. He's a core piece for me. But I think if I had to pick one for this year, I think Collins and London, big play, go-to touchdown guys, tons and tons of targets. Offenses, I think, can stay afloat. There's some realistic questions in Houston. But I think the offense will at least stay afloat. And so I'm double tapping it there. And man, I gotta hope running backs come around to me, right? But that's what I'm looking at.
So you hate Neighbors. I got it. I really like him, man. I really like him. Don't worry.
Okay. Angel obviously has Neighbors on his team.
Listen, Neighbors
in the league that we're all in.
Neighbors, I'd probably take Neighbors in Dynasty over these guys, but I think purely for 2025, I'm mad at you.
I wouldn't. I think you killed this. I think you killed this turn, and I'm quickly realizing the turn is where to be in this draft. Nico Collins could legit be wide receiver 1. Like honestly, he's my wide receiver 5. And sorry, he's my wide receiver. He's my wide receiver 5, but he has number 1 potential. He has the type of quarterback that we think CJ Stroud is the type of quarterback that we think will eventually be in these top passes. I don't want to throw out too many names there, like a Joe Burrow. That's kind of high, but maybe like a Baker Mayfield. Like he's going to be a volume passer, accurate, kind of just came into the league throwing the ball really well. And so not like everything you outlined about him, I think Nico Collins is the pick here. And then to stack that with Drake London, who I think is going to be up here as well. I think getting those two at the turn is dynamite, and definitely those two over Malik Neighbors. I don't think Malik's that good, really. He's kind of trash. Angel?
I'm so mad.
I'm kidding. He's not trash.
Right here, right? I have DA's guy, Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not going to pick him. I'll tell you that right now. He's not. No, Brian Thomas Jr., feel like no one talks about him he's a stud. He played he balled out last year with Mac Jones. Now you figure Trevor Lawrence is better than Mac Jones. You figure that Liam Cohen is a better play caller than what they had last year. I'm gonna take Brian Thomas Jr. here and just kind of with it. I mean, he's and with the uncertainty of how many snaps Travis Hunter is gonna get. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is gonna have the same explosive top 7, top 5 year as it last year. It's a pick 'em and it's just easy.
Okay, we'll start more quickly here as we go through the second and third rounds. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Brian Thomas Jr., especially over those next couple guys who are taken. Ladd McConkey, I think that's a conversation to be had, just with the volume of passing he's going to get. But yeah, BTJ would be a guy too. And I agree with you. I don't understand the cooling off of Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, he was the hotness for a lot of the summer, and just for whatever reason through camp, for none of his own doing, people have just kind of cooled on him. Whether that's because Trevor Lawrence, no one really wants to believe in Trevor Lawrence, or Travis Hunter stealing headlines there. But I agree, BTJ I think is good value here at the second round.
Boring. Isn't that weird? It's kind of a boring second-year wideout. Like you don't hear him talk. He's not as like flashy as Neighbors, but Neighbors like he's more reliable. He hasn't been hurt. He's not dealing with a turf toe. Like Brian Thomas Jr. I don't get the he should be in the first round, to be honest.
Josh Jacobs went. So I want to mention that real quick. I think he's good. I think it's a great pick. I think it's a solid pick. I think I would definitely take him over Achane and Bucky Irving. Josh Allen went. And then McConkey and Bucky Irving went there right before my pick. Any of those guys you guys want to comment on before we move on?
Josh Allen, right? You said Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Not a chance of taking him over Lamar Jackson. I know he fit. I'll take Lamar Jackson's 42 total touchdowns over Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you.
That's the one thing. But this is A+ to A++ players. So you're not gonna go wrong. But I would just take the Lamar Jackson over Josh Allen.
I'm taking Allen over Lamar in fantasy this year for two reasons. Number one, as a Ravens fan, I can't have both my real life team and my fantasy team fall apart if something happens to them. I can't handle that.
Smart.
So
and
easy.
then
Smart.
Number two, and same as Gibbs, is James Cook really going to get 18 touchdowns next year, or is Allen going to, just punch him in from inside the 5? So I think it's really close. Honestly, Hurts is right there with it. I've got Daniels a half step behind the others. But even though I'm not touching any of those quarterbacks early second in a 1 QB, you're probably going to have a league mate who's going to think about it. So I think it's realistic to see one of them go off the board here. In a 1 QB, I'm not thinking about these guys till probably the 2-3 turn at the earliest, though.
Yeah, I'm on the clock here, and I'm not really thinking about a quarterback yet, even though just talking about Lamar Jackson, I've never had Lamar Jackson on one of my teams ever. And so that'd be kind of fun to do. So what AJ said earlier is kind of like ringing in my head. Like he wants to have the number one guy here at each position. And I'm sitting here thinking like, who could be number one at their position? I think there's two guys here who have a realistic shot or a realistic probability at being number one at their position. For me, that's going to be, I guess, three guys, Brock Bowers, Trey McBride. And I think Chase Brown has an outside chance at a very, very high finish, just with how the offense is going to have to move out of necessity and just how little competition he has and the skill set. I mean, Austin Eckler type potential for me for Chase Brown, even though if you look up in the kind of some of the deeper numbers, he wasn't as explosive as far as big plays as I remembered him being, but still I think the work is there for him to finish that high. That being said, I'm not taking Chase Brown here. I think it's a little bit more of a long shot than my boy Brock Bowers. Listen, Jacoby Myers might be headed out of town, and they got a bunch of who knows what at receiver, and they got a better quarterback. So I'm going to go Brock Bowers, who did well last year with a terrible quarterback and no receivers, now gets a good quarterback and no receivers. Brock Bowers, potential number one tight end. I'm taking him at the 2.9 spot. A.J. Brown goes next. Lamar Jackson, so the second quarterback of the draft, goes right before A.J.'s turn here. A pretty exciting turn for A.J. Guys, you want to comment on either my pick, A.J. Brown or Lamar Jackson?
I think that's Bowers' floor. I'd take him over Bucky. I'd take him over Ladd. I'd take him over Achane. I'd take him over Allen. I might even take him over Jacobs. So I think that's great value there. Obviously, any crazy rookie tight end season, how much is it going to repeat? But I think he's really stable. I'm not looking at him on the turn, but pretty quickly into round 2. Full PPR, you get that positional advantage there, especially if it's a little bit smaller lineups. If it's like 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 flex, I might be looking at him pretty fast. If it's, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 2 flexes, hey, he can slide a little bit further. Let me stock up there. But I'm very in on him this year. I like McBride a lot. Bowers is just a monster.
Yeah, and
I've got the same hairstyle, so I'm in.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, you don't need to do that. Angel kind of
right there.
Angel kind of saved me here on my Brock Bowers take earlier. I think this week or whatever, because the question came out, but the kind of story came out that he had split all of his reps pretty much with Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer being used as a blocking tight end type, but just taking snaps from Brock Bowers. And I first heard that, and you first hear that, and you think, the alarm flags or the alarm bells go on, the red flags go up. But that's what happened last year. He split time last year, and he still put up those numbers. I think take Brock Bowers with full confidence here. He's going to be the guy again. And in my opinion, him and George Kittle are going to be duking it out for tight end 1 at the end of the year. A.J. Brown goes. I think the big years of A.J. Brown are behind us. But I still think he's a firm wide receiver 1. And then if we get a Jalen Hurts breakout year as far as passing the ball, that is a crazy value at 2.10 because he can still ball. From what we can tell, he's healthy-ish. And, we'll see. But I like A.J. Brown there. Lamar Jackson. AJ, if you want to comment on anything else or just get into your picks, you're up.
Well, getting into my pick, we'll also add a little comment. I'm crushed. I was set on taking Lamar Jackson here. Sticking with that theme at getting the potential number 1 guy at each position. With that being said, I'll just move down as I have 2 picks in a row and pick the guy that I would have picked at 3.1 if I would have got Lamar Jackson at 2.12. And that is Arizona Cardinals tight end Trey McBride.
Yeah.
Just nothing has changed in that offense. He's their guy. He caught 2 touchdowns last year. I don't see how we can expect that to happen again.
Right.
Positive touchdown regression is just all over this dude. He's such a stud after just yards after catch. I loved watching him play last year. I'm so excited to see Trey McBride this year. I think he has clear. I mean, obviously the conversations between him, Bowers, and George Kittle, but I just think the range of outcomes for Trey McBride are top 2 tight end in fantasy this year.
Yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board. The offense coordinator is the same. You're still gonna have to buy in that Marvin Harrison Jr. is gonna take up all the targets and have a breakout. But even if he does, he's still gonna get all the targets, all the short area targets, and 2 touchdowns. If he just doubles that, that's legitimately tight end 1. I'm on board with Trey McBride beat over Bowers this year. Like, that's just my take. I think there's more of an upside with McBride in PPR. I think he's gonna get a ton of targets.
This episode is brought to you by BETR Picks. Right now, new users get an easy bonus. Simply play $10 and get $30 instantly. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, just play $10 and you'll instantly get $30 in bonus funds to keep the action going. If you've been thinking about making your picks, now's the time. Click the link in the episode description or sign up using code BENCHED, that's BENCHD, to claim your $30 bonus.
All right, so I fully agree with what Angel said too. I have him over Bowers myself. Yeah. So I really wanted Lamar Jackson here. So obviously I'm looking at quarterback. That leaves me with Jalen Hurts versus Jaden Daniels. I don't like a lot of the other guys at this spot. Jonathan Taylor, what's that offense going to look like with Daniel Jones? How much opportunity is he going to have to score the football? Kyren Williams, we all have our feelings about Kyren Williams. Tyreek Hill, is he going to play in the NFL in 8 weeks, or is he going to have a random mid-season holdout? Seems like he hates his team. Chase Brown is a guy.
They hate him.
So Chase Brown's a guy that I have loved this summer, and just as we continue forward,
Don't do it.
More in love with Chase Brown. I won't do it because I've already got Bijan there. I want to handle some other positions. And then the receivers, JSN. I think JSN's going to have a nice year. T. Higgins. So it's between Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels for me. With the news of Terry McLaurin signing after the Brian Robinson trade, this whole offense has to go through Jaden Daniels. And whether we think in real life football he's going to have a sophomore slump or a similar year to last year, I think he is fantasy football proof. As just like I said, the whole offense has to go through him. So I'm taking Jaden Daniels here, and I think he's going to have a big year.
Team 2, you animal.
Everyone's darling in the second, third round. We're big Chase Brown guys, apparently.
Yeah.
All in. I got him 304 in a super flex, 12-team super flex. So, I mean, that's with quarterbacks and stuff, all that. Yeah. So, I was pumped about it. Yeah, I think we're 4 for 4, just being really in on him this year.
Oh, yeah. Would you guys put him over Kyren Williams? Is that just set, right?
Chase Brown? Without question.
Okay. Yeah. Because it went this way, that's the correct way. I'm just making sure.
I think Kyron's great. I would love Kyron, too.
I think Chase Brown over Josh Jacobs, over Bucky Irving.
Yeah, I agree.
He's not in the first tier. He's under CMC and Jetty for sure, but he's the top of the other tier.
I think if Achane was healthy, there's no questions. I think it'd be Achane and then Chase Brown right under that tier.
Yeah.
When you said you're passing on Chase Brown, I thought for sure I was going to get him and things were going my way. But team 2, whatever.
I mean,
we're done.
Team 2 has
you're dead to me, Team 2.
Lamar, Jamar Chase, Lamar
Team
Jackson.
2 is crazy.
That's an incredible team.
I don't know who's being that one. That's an incredible team.
Okay, so Chase Brown goes, Kyron Williams goes. I don't think I would target Kyron Williams here. Jaden Daniels is someone I'd look at, but Jalen Hurts is someone I'm looking here at the 4th pick in the 3rd round. I feel like Jalen Hurts is being treated like the tush push actually did get banned. Like I feel like just people are kind of just cooled on Jalen Hurts for whatever reason. Like he's not going to do it again. Like he's not going to continue to lead the NFL in touchdowns in recent years. Looking at just the whole scope of players here, no one really jumps out to me in this area. Jonathan Taylor, I'm just not there with him.
Yeah.
The offense. Daniel Jones is the guy there, and I think just because Anthony Richardson was so bad, people are thinking much more of Daniel Jones than he is. But listen, they're basically the same guy from just different parts of town, and I just think the offense is about the same no matter if Daniel Jones there.
Really?
I was just talking about different zip codes.
Oh, zip codes.
I'm going to go with.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, just Daniel Jones is check down Charlie, so that's the one thing that might help out Jonathan Taylor. But Jonathan Taylor's really bad at catching the ball, so I'm not sure how much that helps.
I'm going with Jalen Hurts here. I think he's a touchdown merchant, a red zone merchant, and I think he's only going to get better throwing the ball. Jalen Hurts is my pick here, without a doubt. Mail it in, walk away, and that finishes up my 3-round mock here. Tyreek Hill goes. Is he the most bad vibes player in the first 3 rounds that we've seen? The vibes are just terrible with Tyreek Hill.
It's like Raiders Antonio Brown.
Yeah, it's not good.
I feel like at the end of the year, we're gonna look back like, why did we take Tyreek Hill in the 3rd round?
Like DA, are you taking Tyreek over T. Higgins?
No, it's just more stable. Like I think Tyreek has a better shot of being receiver 1. I don't think T has any shot of being receiver 1.
Sure.
Tyreek could, right? But yeah, he could also retire in week 5. So right. I think he's going to be somewhere between receiver 8 and receiver 13. And yeah, sounds great. Let's do this. So
yeah. Jonathan Taylor goes there at number 7, team 7, really stacking up the running backs here, going full running backs. Henry, A-Chain, John Taylor.
He's getting the market, baby.
Angel, you've gone 2 receivers with Puka and BTJ. Who's your 3rd and final pick of this mock draft?
There's a screaming value here. It's the only guy in his position that could finish number 1. It's George Kittle of the 49ers.
Yeah,
it's just
not bad.
It's just like if you don't want to dip into the 2nd tier of tight end, which gets really scary, really fast. You don't want the Mark Andrews or the Evan Ingrams or that kind of realm of player. Kittle here, probably until they figure out who's playing wideout for them. He's the wideout 1, and even if they do, he's still going to be the wideout 1 for them. He's kind of just the safest, non-expensive tight end. That's expensive. It's kind of like he's the perfect mix of like value but upside, and his floor is really nice too. So Kittle here in the 3rd is pretty easy.
I mean, getting Kittle, what is this? 7, 8 picks after McBride, and almost 10 after. This is probably terrible math. After Bowers, I think is pretty good value. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it is 10.
It's 10. Yeah, 10. Sorry. But yeah, I think that's pretty good value. I think Kittle definitely has a shot at tight end 1. Looking forward here, JSN. As soon as his name popped up, I just thought there's another guy who would take over Tyreek Hill. I take JSN over Tyreek Hill as well, just with the PPR reason alone. Marvin Harrison is an interesting name. It's someone you're going to have to just believe in. It's going to have to be one of your guys if you're going to take him this early. As far as myself, the conversation is Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, and then you get to guys like Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, those kind of guys. I guess Marvin Harrison's the guy here, but I think I'd rather just go running back. I'm not going down with that ship that Kyler Murray is driving swiftly into the depths of the ocean. Guys, Marvin Harrison here at the back end of the 3rd. You into it?
No, there's guys here like on better offenses. I'd take Terry. He's back now. Unless you're scared of Deebo Samuel, there's no reason why he shouldn't repeat what he did last year. Yeah, I would take, or I would just go running back. I'm just not in love with the Marvin Harrison profile in the 3rd round. I take him in the fourth or fifth if I was going to do that.
We only have one more pick here, so I want to ask you a question and then go ahead and get into your pick. But what is the difference fantasy-wise between Ashton Genty and Amari and Hampton? Because they're going 2 rounds apart here, and unless you see a major gap between their projections, this is a crazy steal, or Genty is a crazy reach.
I think that we kind of in fantasy haven't quite like if I heard someone else say this the other day, I forget who it was, but now I get to claim it as my own, right? If the Chargers if they never signed Najee at all, and then they drafted Hampton in the first round, man, wheels up, right? Like I feel like this is like a little bit higher than Jacobs goes sometimes, but yeah, he'd be in like that kind of Jacobs, Kyron sort of range. But we're adjusting that based on, Najee's going to eat work for the first 8 weeks and then he'll kind of take it. Rashawn Slater's a big impact. Yeah. Joe Alt is about as good of a fallback option as you're going to get, but then, the trickle down at right tackle and whatever. So I don't think it's like screaming neon lights, ludicrous value. How in the world could he fall here? But I think that if the question is Genty 6 spots too high or is Hampton 6 spots too low, I'm more there. That Hampton's too low. We're not going to relitigate all of the Herbert stuff and whatever, but like broadly speaking, I'm a Chargers optimist. I like Herbert. I like Ladd. Broadly speaking, I think there's good things coming for this offense, even though Slater out is a damper. I'm pretty in on Hampton. I would have him over Marv. There's other guys like you could argue him or Kittle based on team makeup. You could argue him or the quarterback. I'd probably have the quarterbacks over him, but like if you're just convinced that, whoever, Drake May is the dual threat second coming or whatever, I'm smarter than everyone else, I'm going to get him in the 9th and just stock up on value or whatever. I think Hampton could climb, and I think Hampton might continue to do so.
Just picking on my guys all day, huh? That's all right.
Just gotta be here as an antagonist.
No, my team's right there by your screen. Don't lie. Like you're guys.
Oh yeah. I think the worst values are probably Puka Nacua, Brian Thomas Jr., and George Kittle. So no, I like all of your picks. The one thing I feel really good, or I felt really good about my first and second round picks. I don't love the running backs at cost here. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the downside. And even what we talked about earlier, 10 feels really high for Genty. It does. But at this point, I don't feel like receiver. I like Evans and McLaurin. I like the veterans more. I'm just not a Garrett Wilson guy this year. I know he's going to get targets and whatever. I'm really not that into the Jets offense at all. I think it'll be functional, but I don't think it's going to be high flying, which means I'm out on both Wilson and Brees. Evans, I think, is actually pretty good value. But I've already double tapped receiver. Am I really going to go there again?
Just do it again. It feels so good. Just do it again.
I think at this point, I'm pretty high on Ken Walker. It's way too early for the next tier of quarterbacks after the top 4. It's way, way, way too early to be looking at tight end after the top 3. I haven't been on this guy this offseason. I think James Cook is the most likely to get me a double. He's the most likely to be a top 12 running back. I don't think he's going to have a monster year this year. I don't think he's going to pull off what he did last year. I think his touchdowns ran hot. But after that, do I trust the Bills offense or the Jets offense with Brees? Saints offense with Kamara? Seahawks offense with Walker? Panthers offense with Hubbard? I like Travion, but this is too early for him in my opinion. So even if I'm not like, oh my goodness, what a steal, y'all are sleeping on James Cook, I just do think he's the best pick at this point if I'm not going to go 1, 2, 3 receiver. So coming down to Evans or Cook, I'm going to go Cook here to give me a little bit of roster balance.
All right, James Cook goes there at the end of the 3rd round. It is an interesting fall off after, I think, kind of after Chase Brown, and you get, I mean, Kyron Williams and John Taylor are nice, and then Amari Hampton falling that late is crazy to me. But yeah, it's kind of it falls so quickly here. But to your point, because I was thinking like, well, maybe you should have taken a running back second then and saved that receiver.
I was hoping CMC made it, man. Yeah. I wanted CMC because I feel like there's a bit of a drop off to Jacob Achane Irving.
But you would have been pretty disappointed with taking a receiver. I mean, you went through those receivers. None of them are terribly inspiring.
I like Evans a lot, but not like if I had gotten CMC, Nico Collins, I probably would have gone Evans fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But then I'm not getting any, and because we're cutting off the recording here, who knows who I go up with at 401, probably Evans sort of thing. But if I had gotten CMC at 112, no question, Evans was definitely going to have been one of the two here. I think I saw something the other day I can't quite get out of my mind. I'm kind of out. I mean, who isn't out on the Saints? But it was about like Kellen Moore's like plays per game. He runs fast, like he moves fast. They run a lot of plays. I feel like Kamara in full PPR. I mean, he could just get spammed with checkdowns.
Right.
But do I trust the Bills or the Saints? Is what it came down to for me. This year, I just want offenses I believe in. If the guy isn't just a freak, then it better be a fun offense that I believe in. And obviously, the further on you get, it's the 11th round or whatever, who you're going to get. But honestly, even in like the 11th, if it's, fill in the blank random target guy or like Rashad Bateman, like I know I'm a Ravens guy, so there's also homerism. But I want the guy on the good offense, fill in the blank with whatever offense you believe in. I want Josh Palmer as some late start him if injuries decimate my team because I want the guys on the Bills. Like I just want good offenses. If Houston can fix their O-line, if Michael Penix can be who he can be, there's at least a lot of offensive upside here. And man, I don't want if it's week 6 and the Browns are 0-5 and I'm plugging Jerry Jeudy into my lineup each week. I don't want to do that to myself. Like that's not the life I want to live. So I'm just gonna hope that these offenses can hit and go from there.
All right, DA kind of broke down his team there. That's how we're going to finish the show. Angel, quickly here, talk about your 3 picks. Anything you would have done differently? Go ahead.
No, literally perfect. No, it's the Achane thing. Achane can legitimately finish RB1. So I'm not sure Brian Thomas can finish wide at 1. That does bother me looking back at it now. But really, no, I think Kittle in the third's nice. And Puka Nacua over Amon-Ra, that could be a conversation. But Achane going right after just bugs me now that I'm looking at it. But no, I think for hero RB and you want to rely on pass catchers, Puka, Brian Thomas, and Kittle kind of fit all. They could be the number 1 and number 2 options on improved offenses. So yeah, I don't mind my team.
I'll go next here. I'm pretty happy with my draft. I think any one of these 3 guys can and have in recent years finished number 1 at their position. I think going forward, I'd be interested to finish out this draft and see like how would I feel the rest of my roster because I don't know if I'd get a great wide receiver 2 here at 4.9 or RB2 or anything like that. So I might pay for that Bowers pick kind of as I've moved through the draft. But as far as these first 3 rounds, I'm pretty happy with getting these 3 guys here at the number 4 spot. I like it. AJ?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my team. Obviously, the big shakeup taking Bijan over Jamar Chase. Going with Jaden Daniels, I was looking. I mean, obviously, I was looking at Jalen Hurts, and I wanted to take Jalen Hurts at first. But listen to this stat: Saquon Barkley was tackled at the 1-yard line 11 times last season. That was most of any player in the NFL. Saquon Barkley scored 0 times. After being tackled at the 1-yard line, Jalen Hurts scored 10.
Yes, sir.
We can't expect that to happen again. Obviously,
why?
Jalen Hurts, I mean, that's a wild stat.
Tackle at the 1. Yeah.
That's a tackle at the 1-yard line more than any player, and then having not scored 1 time. Obviously, the tush push works. We know it works. There's just going to be a difference in Saquon Barkley. Can we expect him to bust out those 65-yarders as much as he did last year? I don't know. But can we expect the offense to maybe use him to punch it in a little bit more? I think so. So that was the tiebreaker between Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts for me.
That's a weird stat.
It's crazy, right?
At the 1.
That makes sense if you think about it, though. I don't know. I think they're going to lean into the tush push this year with them trying to ban it in the offseason. And if Sirianni has anything to say about it, which head coach probably will, I think the tush push is going to be. I just don't know if they get tackled at the 1. If I was thinking, like, as soon as you started talking about that, like, all right, this year, what are they more likely to do if they're at the 1 yard line? Turn around, hand to Saquon, or just tush push it in? I guess we'll see. But that's that's a super interesting stat.
That's the thing. I'm looking more at the amount of times he was tackled at the 1 rather than the amount of times they use the tush push at the 1. Obviously, they're going to use the tush push at the 1, but just, I mean, to have the season he had last year and also be tackled at the 1 more than any other player, that's just a weird stat. It's just one of those things you never see again.
Yeah. And Jaden Daniels does have, at least right now, I think the passing upside on Jalen Hurts, and I think he definitely belongs in this kind of top 4 of quarterbacks that we've seen in drafts so far. Boys, that was a fun 3 rounds. There's a lot to talk about. If you're listening, I hope that it helps. I hope that we had some good conversations that you kind of reference in your draft. We'll be dropping fantasy content all week long. It is the biggest fantasy draft weekend of the year as we gear up for the start of the NFL season next week, which is wild to say out loud. But we'll be dropping fantasy stuff here on the Fantasy playlist here on the Bench Podcast. That's about it. That's all I got. Boys, thanks for joining us. DA, Angel, AJ, we'll see you again later this week. Bye.
See you.